Welcome back to Modeling Manhood. Real excited to bring you guys today's story. We're going to kind of do things a little differently and put a twist on things. We're going to do our Bible passage first, and then I'm going to tell you guys about one of our family's traditions that I'm super excited to share with you guys. So for today's Bible reading, we're going to go to Joshua chapter 5. And at this point, the Israelites had traveled out of Egypt, been in the wilderness now for 40 years. And in verse 2, chapter 5 of Joshua, it says, "At this time the Lord said to Joshua, make a sharp knife and circumcise again the children of Israel." And then the next verse, chapter 5, verse 3, "And Joshua made a sharp knife and circumcised the children of Israel at the hill of the foreskins." And you may be wondering, what in the world does foreskins and the Bible and family traditions have to do with? So hopefully they've at least piqued your curiosity so that you'll at least watch till the end today. So if you guys remember, when they were in Egypt, the Hebrews were separated. And one of the things that the Hebrews did that the other nations didn't do was circumcise all their males. Now they had been in the wilderness for 40 years wandering and just waiting to go into the promised land, the land of the Canaanites. So before they step into Canaan and cross over the Jordan River, the Lord here requires Joshua to take a knife and circumcise all the males. That would have been all the males that were with them, from the youngest all the way to the oldest men, which may have been 40 years old at this time. So imagine being a 40-year-old man, probably already having kids of your own, and having to also submit to circumcision. So quite the gruesome act. Think about it medically, it has some advantages, but also, more importantly, just being set apart as a nation. So the Israelites would now be recognized as a circumcised people. When we look in the New Testament, there's a question about the uncircumcised versus the circumcised that I'll put a reference for you guys. But just this act of bringing back an old tradition that had been neglected for 40 years, I think is really important. Verse 6 says, "For the children of Israel walked 40 years in the wilderness, till the people that were men of war had come out of Egypt were consumed." Remember, they were there because the earth had swallowed up some of the men, and then all the men that had disobeyed when Moses went up to the mountain and Aaron made that golden calf, they would have all been dead. So the only two old guys in the camp would have been Joshua and Caleb. So every other male would have been 40 years younger than them at this time. So all the way down through to the youngest of children. Typically on the 8th day they circumcise in a Jewish family. So pretty much every male from age 40 to down to like 8 days old, depending on how you interpret the Bible, would have had to been circumcised. And then verse 8 says, "Until they were made whole." And then the Lord said in verse 9, "This day I have rolled away the reproach of Egypt from you." So it had been completed, and now they were ready to go into the promised land. So bringing back old traditions, I just want to share with you guys now one of our family traditions. When a young man makes it to his 10th birthday, we spend an evening together, all the men that have gone through our family ritual. And I'm going to show you guys our gangster box here. This box is presented to that young man in a very neat rites of passage, as you would call it in other traditions. We call this our gangster box. The boys call it the GB because we can't speak of it in front of any of the girls in the family. My wife doesn't know what's in here. The contents in here are locked at all times until a male turns 10 years old. The ceremony usually happens late at night. And if you guys think about a gangster, usually a gang member that's involved in some criminal activity. One of the ways that the ceremony starts is you actually have to pick the lock to open up the contents. And once the contents are opened up, the young man that's going to be initiated into this group or band of brothers, or just welcomed into this fraternity or group, has certain items that they have to wear. They have to wear, well, I can't tell you all the details. That wouldn't be fair. But I will say that they do have to wear a manly cologne, which kind of permeates the whole room and kind of sets the tone for the rest of the evening. And then we go through every item in the box one at a time, and we talk about it, when it would be used, where it would be used. We do have one new item that will be going into the box this evening as we celebrate with one of the young men in our family. So I will give you guys that piece of information only. I do have in my content a switchblade. They are, we'll just say, not quite legal in all states. So judge me if you will. So this will be going into our box tonight along with the other items in here. I would love to tell you guys what is in here, but I would encourage you guys to start your own family tradition. It wouldn't be fair to my family, and I don't want you guys copying what I do or what somebody else's does. I want you guys to be an original. Be who God created you to be. And remember, mirror your maker and journey with Jesus today.